Well, guess what? We are live here in the digital studio of WGME and WPFO television. I'm Jeff Peterson, along with nutritionist Sara Sullivan, and we're talking about the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. Yes, you fired up for the Super Bowl?
So excited.
I know, that's what I thought. You're more fired up for the food that's going to take place. So today we're talking about different things. First of all, what are you doing for Super Bowl Sunday? Where are you watching it? Also, who do you think is going to win? And then what are your favorite Super Bowl snacks? That's the big thing because we have nutritionist Sara Sullivan on today. And also, we're going to have you find out, can you eat healthy and eat at a Super Bowl party at the same time? All great questions. We think that could be possible. So make sure and chime in. I mean, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on websites, we're all over the place. Who knows? We could be up in space somewhere live on this thing too. I don't know. But very casual scene here. Again, thanks for joining us today. We just finished Good Day Maine on Fox 23. We were talking about the Super Bowl. And I could not stop talking about chips and guacamole. That's and we talk about wings being the best. I like chips and guacamole. Can you please tell everyone how good avocados are for you with the guac?
They are super good and a great healthy dip, a great alternative to a sour cream or a mayonnaise-based dip. So good choice.
So it's all right. So even if I eat it with a spoon and not even use the chips.
Still have to have some portion control with that.
Ruining my party all of a sudden.
I'm sorry.
So again, here's some of the questions. You can ask us any question. You have Sara right here at your disposal to ask any nutritional questions, health questions when it comes to your diet out there. Also, hey, I want to know also what your weekend plans are. Not a bad weekend out there. It's not going to be like 45 degrees below zero. How'd you deal with that? It was a record in Portland. You live outside of Portland, but 45 below zero was a record for Portland last Saturday morning.
It was brutal, I'm not going to lie. But we've had such a mild winter, it's bound to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we got nailed big time. Also, what did you think of all the snow and the ice that we've had? And also, here's the big question we're trying to ask. Can you eat healthy and eat at a Super Bowl party at the same time? Those are very important questions. And also, we're asking for your comments right now. And right now, Ron is coming in. He says, good morning, can't wait. And also, Ron is also saying he likes chef salad, spaghetti with meatballs, and Italian bread. All right, that's not bad. Again, just portion control, right? It's not like, it's not like pasta's horrible for you.
Yeah, I mean, Super Bowl is the second biggest eating day of the year, next to Thanksgiving. So I think for a lot of people, it's just an excuse to like dive into all of our favorite dips, chicken wings, chips.
And speaking of wings, here we go. Yeah. We have some some stats for you. Did you know that on Super Bowl Sunday, Americans will eat 1.3 billion chicken wings? 1.3 billion. That's just in the United States alone. I don't even know what do you. I just call them wings because I don't even know if they're buffalo wings or chicken wings or whatever. And also, how about some more stats? What's this about chips? How many chips?
How about 11.2 million pounds of potato chips are going to be consumed?
Oh, man. And here's my favorite again. 139.4 million pounds of avocados will be purchased and, of course, used for guacamole. And then we also have popcorn, too.
3.8 million pounds of popcorn, which actually isn't a bad option. It's a better option than potato chips. So yeah. I kind of like that stat.
But it's all the stuff we put on it, like all the cheese and the butter. butter. And also 3 million pounds of nuts will be consumed. And if you're going to do that, what's the healthiest nut? Almonds, cashews, what?
So walnuts are a great source of omega-3 fat. So I would stick with like walnuts, pecans. Peanuts aren't bad either, but peanuts are actually a legume and not a nut. So they're really in the bean family.
That's my nugget of the day. I had no idea.
And if you do reach for peanuts, looking for peanuts that are just roasted without all the oil and salt, that's just a healthier alternative.
Is it a legume because peanuts are grown in the ground? Is that a different? Because I know almonds, my full disclosure, my mom and my stepdad own an almond ranch in California, and those are grown on trees. So peanuts are grown in the ground.
Right. So they're in the legume family. But, I mean, still a great option, better than some other things.
There you go. And I love peanuts. I could eat a whole jar of one sitting. Also, other things to talk about. All right, let's talk alcohol now.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. 325.5 million gallons of beer will be consumed. Same thing, right? It's all right to have a glass or a mug or two of beer, right? I mean,
having a beer or two during a 4 or 5 hour game, not really a deal breaker, but we want to make sure we buffer that with a lot of water. So maybe having a glass of water in between the beer is a good idea. Yeah. And also, if you drink too much beer, you tend to eat a lot more.
Yeah, because you're like, whoa. Yeah. And the thing about beer too is a lot of those are like calories you'd rather put on something better for you, right? Like, I don't want to, I know carrots and celery sound boring and bad, but at least eat a few vegetables, right?
Yeah. And the beer doesn't really provide any satiety. So you're getting a lot of calories without feeling full. So that's another reason you're more likely to overeat after drinking dip.
Yeah, and plus, if you drink a lot of beer, sometimes too, you're full by the time you get to the food. You want to get to the food, right?
Yeah.
Also, we have a $2.37 million will be spent on soda. Bacon? Really? People eat bacon for the Super Bowl? What?
I think it's on things, it's in things. If you're doing burgers, you might add bacon, or if you're doing potato skins, you might put bacon on. So that one surprised me a little bit too. I don't think anybody's just having like strips of bacon.
No, well, maybe 12.5 million pounds of bacon will be consumed. And here's a favorite too. I don't really think of this at a Super Bowl party, but 10 million pounds of ribs will be consumed. And then there's your tortilla chips.
8.2 million pounds of tortilla chips.
Woo! That's a lot of munchies right there. We have some more comments coming in. And first of all, let's go to Ron again. Yes, you can eat healthy. That's what he says. And also here we have Travis Hamilton. Good morning, Jeff. Got to be pizza, buffalo wings, and buffalo chicken dip. All right. I don't mind a little chicken dip. A lot of people like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have Steve. Steve is going only got what is over an inch in West Paris. That's when he comes to the snow that we had. And my mom's sweet and sour meatballs. So, okay.
Probably a tradition. And I'm sure you can make those really healthy.
But here's the thing with stuff like it, you just don't eat a ton of them, right? Just
yeah, it's portion
less
control.
than a half dozen.
Yeah. Well, portion control is a big thing, but the average American consumes between 3,000 and 6,000 calories just during the game. That's not including what you might have for breakfast or what you might, eat late night. So, that's a lot of calories, and it's easy to just sit there with like a big bowl of dip and just go to town. So one recommendation I have is to have a plate. So to put the dip on the plate as opposed to just sitting and like diving in, that's an easier way to reduce your caloric intake.
Yeah, and plus we forgot about it. It's not just the game, which probably will be about 4 hours when you're throwing the long halftime show and the long flip of the coin and the post game, all that post game stuff. But there's also a 5.5 hour pregame show. Starts at 1 o'clock. The game doesn't kick off till 6:30. So you're going to be eating during that too.
Yep, absolutely. And and the other big problem too is a lot of people call in sick the next day. I think it's one of the biggest days for absence because we're eating so much, we're drinking, and we feel terrible the next day. So something to consider too is not just how you want to feel during the game, but how do you want to feel the day after?
And the game gets over late. I mean, you're talking about 6:30 kickoff.
Yep.
And NFL games usually last about 3 hours, but you throw in all the extra things. And by the time the pregame show's over, you're talking about close to midnight when that thing's over.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a late one. Also, here we go. Travis, that doesn't even survive me when it comes to all the food. And we have another one. This is more from Poland is watching. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any comments or anything else like that. Again, we're talking about the big thing is, what are your weekend plans? I'm watching the game. I'm going to a friend of mine's house to watch the Super Bowl, and I know we'll have plenty of chips and dip and all kinds of stuff there. And and I'll do the healthy part. Okay, just because you're hanging out next to me, I'm going to bring some carrots, and some celery. Okay, and eat a little healthy just for at least a few bites.
Yeah, it's good to have some veggies on your Super Bowl spread just to munch on.
Yeah.
And really to fill up on them because they're they're high nutrient dense foods with very few calories. So just a better option, or maybe you alternate between dipping a piece of celery and a carrot and a chip, just kind of have that balance there.
There you go. So here's the big question. What are your favorite Super Bowl snacks? Now, I like chips and guacamole. That's my favorite. I can sit there and eat probably a whole container. I buy them at like Hannaford or Shaw's, and they're like this big. I'll just sit there and dip, they'll be gone in 15 minutes. But I love that. That's my favorite thing. What's yours?
Ooh, I actually like a healthy 7-layer bean dip.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
What would you put in that?
That's my favorite. So I would do refried beans. I'd do lots of veggies. So we'd have olives, lettuce, onions, and then definitely guac. You got to have the avocado in there. And then I don't usually even put cheese or sour cream on mine. I don't think you need it when you have all the creamy beans, but you could always opt for, a couple dollops of sour cream or a sprinkle of cheese. Yeah,
that's a great idea. Yeah. So we want to know what your favorite Super Bowl snacks are as well. We mentioned pizza, the same thing. And by the way, happy National Pizza Day today.
I didn't know that.
Now you do. And by the way, the number one pizza out there for folks is pepperoni pizza.
I believe that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite kind of, okay, we're kind of getting away from it, but pizza is a Super Bowl snack, right? Kind of.
I'm not a really big pizza girl.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be probably my favorite or something that I'd gravitate towards. But if you are going to do pizza, a really great trick is to load it up with veggies. You can still do some pepperoni, but load on some green peppers, some black olives, some onions, and really bulk it up with some veggies.
I noticed you didn't say pineapple though.
Oh no, the
You're
that's a big
anti-pineapple.
debate.
I know it is the
You either love
controversial
it-
debate.
You love it or you hate it.
They're like the Yankees, right? You love them or hate them. Pineapple, I love. It's funny. I don't like fresh pineapple, but I love pineapple cooked on pizza or in Chinese food.
Yeah, I think it's that sweet and salty kind of,
Mhm.
combination going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's pretty good. All right, so here's what we got going on. We're going to give you a little advice right now, and I know you're going to pig out. We all know that's going to happen, but we're going to help you eat a little healthier. And Sarah, who's been a nutritionist for how many years now?
20.
20 years.
20 years.
Jeez, so you've been doing it since you were 9.
I
Since you're
know.
29, right? And so we have some tips, advice, whatever you want to take. So, just listen for a few minutes. We ask you, and if you have any comments, please chime in. Again, if you have any questions for me or Sarah, I've been, just so you know, full disclosure, if you didn't know, I've been vegan for about 12 years. And so I don't eat dairy. So when it comes to, we were talking about pizza, I would eat dairy-free cheese. And then when it comes to, for chips and dip, a lot of the dip has milk in it or eggs or whatever. And so I don't eat that either. And so that's what I do. And you're pretty much vegan as well, close to it.
Yeah. And the great thing is there's so many vegan options. If you are going to order pizza, most places now have, dairy-free cheese and really good options. So it is still possible to order out to bring, the pizza back to the house.
No, that's a great idea.
stay
All right.
vegan.
Plus, let someone else do the work, right? All right, let's talk about things first of all, you want to do when you're getting ready for a big party like Super Bowl Sunday. All right, what's the most important? Start it off.
Okay. So
Is it top 10 list, okay? Like David Letterman, top 10.
our top 10 for how to eat healthy at Super Bowl. First is to fix your plate, as I had mentioned, is to take a reasonable size plate, not a huge plate, and put the food on the plate so you can visually see how much you're going to be consuming. Like I said, you can limit the volume of dip that you're going to consume. So it's just a good way to, I think, to have that visual of what you're going to put in your body. So fix your plate would be number one.
All right. Okay. So you want me to put like at least half the plate with carrots and maybe some sliced apples and some soy. Everyone's like listening to me and watching me going, really, Jeff, you're really going to do that? Yes. I'll dip carrots in the guacamole or the plant-based ranch dressing. Okay. Because I like carrots. All right. Number 2, make veggies the star of the show. We just talked about.
Yeah. So that's a really easy one. And, even if you're hosting, it's good to have healthy options. Not everybody's going to go for them, but a lot of people do enjoy them. And I feel like baby carrots and celery are just super simple. They're easy to put out and they're pretty user friendly. Most people like them and would at least opt for a couple.
And before we get to the next one, Travis is saying, see, I don't understand that. Who's going to watch 5.5 hours of pregame? I don't know either people do it. Travis, one more comment. Supreme is my go-to. So Supreme Pizza, that's what I'm guessing. So,
Yep.
Oh yeah, he likes
Load it
all
up.
those. Load it up. All right, we go on to number 3. And this is important, especially before you start eating, right? Is the H2O.
Drink plenty of water, especially if you're going to be eating foods that are high in sodium. If you're going to be drinking alcohol, it's really going to help you feel much better the next day. And if you do completely overindulge, make sure you get up in the morning and pound water. It's going to help to flush out some of that excess sodium.
Is that even possible after all the food I'm going to eat? Here's the number 5 is make smart substitutions. Like what do you mean by that?
So there's a couple things you can do. So for example, if you're making a chili, you could use lean ground turkey instead of beef, or you could just make a really delicious plant-based chili, which I personally love. Load it up with beans. They're high in protein, high in fiber. They're going to keep you full. You can substitute a Greek yogurt, a plain Greek yogurt, for any sour cream or mayonnaise. And what that does is it really cuts down on calories and fat and adds that extra little punch of protein that you won't get from the mayonnaise or the sour cream. Just some easy options. Subbing the guacamole for a cream-based dip. That's a really easy one. It tastes delicious. Most people really enjoy that. And then, of course, you can, even with your wings, if you're going to enjoy wings, you can bake them instead of frying them. So a little bit healthier options.
And then more wings and not as much dip, right? Because when people dip, not that ketchup is a dip, but it shocked me how much sugar is in ketchup. And the same thing with some of these sauces, some of the ranch or blue cheese. There's a lot of calories in that, right?
Yeah, they really do add up. So you want to think of a portion size being the size of a golf ball, not a baseball, not a football, a golf ball. Right. That's 2 tablespoons. And for most, like a blue cheese dip, it's going to come in at about 50 calories. But just to show you how easy it is to add up all these calories, if you have 3 pieces of pizza, just cheese pizza, not even the Supreme. Sorry, Travis. 3 pieces of pizza, 6 chicken wings with 2 tablespoons of dip, and 3 beers, which, I mean, I could see people doing that. You're at 2,000 calories just right
Already?
there already.
What are you supposed to have? Like, let's say a male in their 50s. How many calories a day?
Oh, per day. Well, I mean, it depends on your activity level, and of course your age, but somewhere between like 2,000 and 2,500. So you're really getting like a full day's worth just in that one.
In like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not really, at the end of the day, it's not such a big deal, but it can kind of start to snowball bad habits throughout the rest of the week. So yeah, just being mindful.
I think that's a good point too, because we say, hey, let's just blow New Year's Eve. You go out and you tie one on, especially when it comes to drinking. But then you got to remember, I'm not going to do that every single weekend or every single night. Same thing with this Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, all about eating and watching a game. But you just don't want to have Super Bowl Sunday every single day or every single weekend, right? To pig out.
Yeah, and it seems like every month there's like a day like that, right? Like in January you have New Year's, then you have Valentine's and Super Bowl. You get Cinco de Mayo in May. You get all of these holidays. There's at least one a month that can just kind of throw our healthy habits, maybe our New Year's resolutions. I think Super Bowl is like the first test of your resolutions, right? We all, want to start to eat healthy after the new year, and it can tend to go downhill pretty quickly.
Oh, no. All right, let's go on to number 6. Don't overdo the alcohol.
Yeah. So, and that, again, we talked about that. That's just being mindful about what you're drinking and maybe setting an intention prior to the game of like how many beers you're going to have, or, whatever alcohol you choose. But sticking to no more than 2 drinks, I think that's safe for 5 hours, especially if you're having your alcohol with food, it's going to help to absorb it. But, over drinking, probably not the best idea, because it is such a long game. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're pre-gaming. I don't pre-game, but if you're pre-gaming, you could be looking at 10 hours of drinking beer and eating dip.
Oh, and then post-game, of course, right after the post-game is going to be Fox 23 News, and that's like, I think, 45 minutes to an hour long. So you could be doing this for like 11 or 12 hours, eating and drinking, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just slow down, take it easy, not allowed. Okay, don't overindulge. All right, we go on to number 7, minimize the calorie-dense foods. So what are the calorie-dense foods?
Yeah, so the calorie-dense foods are going to be, again, like your cream-based, your dairy-based, so your mayonnaise, your sour cream. Any type of dip that is dairy-based is just going to be more calorically dense. So sticking with things like, again, the dips like avocado or hummus, adding in the veggies, you can still have chips with all of those, but just, limit the amount of those really calorically dense foods. Loaded pizza is another one, I'm sorry, that is calorically dense. So if you're going to enjoy it. Have one piece.
All right. Now, number 8 is host smart. All right.
So hosting smart is, putting out options that are a little bit healthy. You can still put out some of the favorites, but having some healthier options for your guests, because again, a lot of people have made resolutions. A lot of people are trying to make better choices. And so having those options available for your guests is kind.
All right, Travis just came out and he says, cheese pizza, it's okay. However, not my preference. I find it boring. And then he went on to say, no problem there. I don't drink. So he
way to go. Then you get that extra slice of pizza.
Exactly. See, so you can save it for something else. So we go on to number 9 is get rid of leftovers. What? I thought the whole idea of leftovers, they're left over.
I know. Send them home with your guests.
Yes, now you're talking. It's kind of like this when I buy Girl Scout cookies, I give them away because if they're in my house, I mean, and I buy the ones that are dairy-free, like the Thin Mints. I'll eat a whole sleeve in like 30 seconds. So that's a great idea, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just get rid of them. And you can even tell your guests ahead of time to bring, any type of Tupperware or containers so they can just pack up what they want. They take it home, you clean up, and then you don't have to worry about the next day. Because if you have like a 7-layer bean dip just hanging around, and I'm only speaking from personal experience, the next day you're like, well, I don't want to waste it. So I might as well have some. But you can send it home with your guests, and you win, they win, everybody wins.
Everybody wins, even Tupperware, because they sell more Tupperware. Number 10, you kind of touched on that a little bit, but hydrate the day after. Yeah,
hydrating the day after is super important. So just like we want to drink water throughout the game, if we're drinking beer, we want to alternate. But then the next day, like I said, just making sure that you definitely aim for like half your body weight in ounces of water. And that's going to help, like I said, because a lot of these foods that are at Super Bowl are really high sodium. So we want to make sure that we hydrate, we flush all of that out. So drinking water the next day. The other thing too is there's water in raw fruits and vegetables. They're actually 95 to 99% water. So you can always eat your water too. So just making sure that, maybe you have a little bit extra fruit the next day. And the other thing that can be beneficial too is having a soup You want to make sure it's not super high in sodium. But the soup is so easy to digest. So if we've had a lot of the dairy options, chicken wings, all that, it does tax our digestive system. Yeah. So soup is a good idea.
Now, if you're looking for more ideas and maybe what to fix or whatever, you can go to also Sara's website. What is that again?
SaraSullivan.com.
What can they find on that website, by the way?
You can find recipes, you can find programs that I offer, you can find health tips, and you can always reach out to me with any additional questions, anything that pops up that might not even be Super Bowl related. I have a contact page, shoot me an email, and I'm happy to answer.
That sounds great. So we're moving on from the Super Bowl. All right, by the way, I'm picking the Eagles to win. You don't really care, huh?
I really don't.
You really don't care.
I like the commercials, though.
Yeah, there you go. How about the halftime show? At least Rihanna's playing at the halftime show?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
I don't know. I could care less. I just like the football game, and that's it. And let's go on. So we're moving on from Super Bowl Sunday to another holiday, Valentine's Day, which, oh my gosh, guys, listen up. It's coming up next week. Don't screw this up, okay? Don't screw it up. Valentine's Day is coming up. You got to do something, okay? So I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you a forewarning, right? It's less than a week away. So let's talk about some ideas for Valentine's Day, meals. That could be healthy for people, maybe to either go out, or let's save some money and fix a meal at home too.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to support local restaurants, but if you're looking to save a little bit of money this year, you can definitely make a really, really delicious meal at home. So some of the favorite choices for romantic dinners at home are steak, seafood, chocolate. That's a no-brainer.
For a meal.
Maybe, I don't know. Pasta, sushi, wine, and chocolate.
Yeah.
Fish, creme brulee. That one kind of threw me off a little bit because I think you need like a little blowtorch to make that. I don't know how many people have that in the house. And strawberries, of course.
And of course, people are going to get the chocolate covered strawberries if it's a Valentine's Day present or whatever. So that's stuff that people would eat. Now, again, let's go over when you're talking about steak and you're talking about pasta and all these other things that are, can really make you full. It's all about, making the right portion, right? Not eating too much. Just put, what is it? A size of your fist? Is that what we're talking for a steak? Because most people, they get a T-bone. It's like, is the screen big enough? Like that
huge.
Big. Yeah. But it's got to be maybe as big as your fist, right? Something
your
like
fist
that.
Or even a deck of cards, if that's a good visual, just to know that you really want to bulk up that plate with all the vegetables and then just have your protein in a normal serving size. All
right. And make the veggies this big, okay? Let me the
lots of veggies.
Yeah, over here, I get it backwards. Lots, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing about making dinner at home is you can control what goes in it. So you can control the sodium, you can control the fat, and it's also really budget friendly. So I have a great Valentine's meal that I'm going to be sharing with you, and it comes together for two people under $20.
Wow!
So like $10, and you get a lot of, you get a good chunk of salad and lasagna.
Dinner on a dime. Loving that. And by the way, you can see that next week on Good Day Maine on Fox 23 between 8 and 9. I'll be letting you know which day. That's going to be before Valentine's Day. It's going to be on. We're going to be recording that on Monday. And also, when it comes to vegetables now, because we're on the topic of vegetables, is there a vegetable that's better than most, or a couple of them that if you were recommending, you should definitely eat this one?
Yeah, so I mean, all vegetables are good and beneficial, and they offer different antioxidants, different vitamins, different minerals, which is why it's really important that we have a really great variety. But if I had to say what is the highest in antioxidants and potentially the most beneficial, it's going to come in with broccoli. All of our leafy greens are wonderful. Even things like blueberries are great. So, I mean, I'd say definitely have variety, but your leafy greens are super important to add in. And that can be spinach, it could be kale, it could be cabbage, it could be Swiss chard. And if you're not familiar with these, I think just finding a really good recipe and playing around with it can potentially change your mind if you don't tend to gravitate towards the greens.
And I don't want to be kind of silly and kind of weird, but it could change your life too. I mean, look, I went plant-based 12 years ago, and I never thought I liked some of these vegetables. If somebody would have told me 12 years ago, oh, you're really going to like Brussels sprouts, I would have said, are you crazy? But I like Brussels sprouts. When I go to a restaurant now, my friends will be ordering this big old steak and chicken, and I'll be going, I'll take the Brussels sprouts, right? And they're so good at some of these restaurants. They're awesome. And I have this great recipe that has Brussels sprouts with pears and cranberries with maple syrup. And man, it's so good. Even pears, I never thought I would like pears either. But I guess your taste buds change after a while, The only thing I don't like about Brussels sprouts and broccoli, though, Smells up the
It does.
house.
It does. I actually
Dang.
made broccoli last night. My daughter's like, no,
don't do it.
because it does. But I have to tell you, that's really the beneficial compound. It's sulfur. So sulfur's in our cruciferous
Really?
vegetables. So our cauliflower, our Brussels sprouts, our broccoli, and it's also in eggs. And sulfur is actually amazing for your liver. So there's lots of benefits, obviously, to eating these vegetables in terms of antioxidants and nutrients. But you also get the benefits of how it functions in the body too. And most Americans don't eat enough vegetables.
No, not at all. And again, you're talking about a big bowl of Brussels sprouts that I would get. So many of these restaurants are serving this up now, which is great. Every now and then, again, because I don't eat meat, they'll kind of sneak in bacon. So I have to ask, first of all, do you cook it in butter or do you have bacon in it? A lot of times I ask that right out the gate. And most restaurants are pretty good about, serving it the way you like it. And the only thing, but you know what, to stay away from that, just fix it at home the way you like it. And there's all kinds of recipes. Just Google something or go to sarasullivan.com and you can find out some great recipes that include vegetables. And here's another thing. I'll just kind of throw something together. Like the other day I threw together, I just rinsed out a couple of cans of chickpeas, and I roasted them or cooked them on the stove. And then after that, I already cooked some peppers and onions in advance, so that was in there. And then I cut up a little maple tempeh, which is kind of like bacon. And then I threw in some spinach, and the spinach kind of shriveled up into it.
10 pounds turned into a quarter cup.
A little salt, a little pepper, and some other spices. Man, that was really good.
Sounds delicious.
And I was just winging it. So that's what's fun about it. Act like you're like at a blues concert, even if you're not a musician, if you know what I mean. Just start playing and you just kind of wing it, just kind of ad lib. And, if it tastes kind of, it needs something, add a few things and see what's happening. That's what's fun about it too.
Yeah, getting creative in the kitchen for sure. And another thing too with the vegetables is not only are Brussels sprouts kind of having their moment here in restaurants in Portland, but it just made me think of, you can make buffalo cauliflower wings. They're all the rage. You can find a million different recipes online, and they are unbelievable. And it really helps to reduce the calories, increase your vegetable intake, and you still get all of the delicious flavors of the buffalo sauce, which is a Super Bowl must.
All right, let's do a Throwback Thursday right now. So I would say about 2 or 3 years ago, I remember you came out and asked me, and you said, "Hey Jeff, I'm going to bring cauliflower." What was my reaction? I'm like, oh, and you made it your goal. You goes, Jeff, I'm going to have you're going to like cauliflower after I'm done with you. And sure enough, I came over to your house and we had dinner with your family, and maybe you served this killer cauliflower soup. Yeah. And you did. And the thing I was bringing up, you fixed those buffalo cauliflower or whatever they're called, cauliflower wings. What are you? Is that what they are?
Wings.
Cauliflower wings, cauliflower wings. I'll call them cauliflower wings. And they were really good. Yeah. I mean, I'd still dipped them in the plant-based ranch or whatever, but I was shocked because I was so used to going. Yeah. But they were really good. They were good.
They are really good. And I wouldn't say cauliflower necessarily tastes like chicken. Like a lot of these options aren't the exact same, but it gets soft, almost like a potato when you cook the cauliflower. But really, I mean, I never understood the whole fascination with chicken wings because it's really about the buffalo sauce. Do you know what I mean? There's not much meat on those wings. Maybe it's just the act of like eating them. I'm not sure. But it's really, it's really about the sauces. So if you have a favorite sauce, like go and play around with adding in different vegetables or, just see how it turns out.
Which, I mean, it really, that's what cooking is. I mean, again, it's apples and oranges, but I mean, cooking is kind of like being an artist sometimes, right? Yeah. I mean, you just kind of wing it. Sometimes you don't even know what you're painting and you start painting. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Same thing with cooking. Look what you got in your fridge and just go in there and let me try this. I mean, there's no, just because it's not a cookbook, doesn't mean it's not going to taste good or be healthy for you. Yeah. So just wing it sometimes. Throw something together and, or maybe you can write a cookbook someday. You never know. But I just never know what's going to taste good. And that's the only way you find it. It's just like you figure out how much little salt or a little other ingredients you're going to put on. Sometimes you don't know how much you're going to need until you taste it.
Yeah. And I think it's really about building confidence in the kitchen. If you're not one that tends to enjoy cooking or you don't feel as though your dishes come out very well, but there's so many resources online. I mean, you can go on YouTube and learn how to cook anything. You can go on Pinterest for recipes. So, I mean, there's really no shortage of options if you're looking to learn. And I think that just being willing to learn is half the battle and saying like, you can do it. Everybody can cook.
Look, let me tell you something. I was a meataholic for the longest time. I was one that would eat the T-bones. They're as big as your plate. I would eat steak tips. All that stuff. I mean, I used to eat all that stuff. You know what? It was yummy. It was good. It was delicious. But then I ended up wanted to lose a few pounds and bring my cholesterol down and bring my blood pressure and everything else down. And I went plant-based. And there is ways. Look, you don't have to go my way and go vegan, but there are ways to get healthy. And that's eating more fruits and vegetables, right?
Absolutely.
So and that's the big thing is some people get kind of nervous about trying new things. But you know what? Like I tell my kids, I said, you know what? You can always try bite and then walk over to the trash can and spit it out. I mean, if you don't like it, but try it. You never know if you're going to like it. You see something, and the first reaction is like me with cauliflower. There was no way I was going to just looking at cauliflower. It makes it look like it's brains or something to me. I would never eat it. But then she kind of twisted my arm, forced me to eat it. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. I mean, it had the soup and everything. So just take a chance sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, give it a shot. Play around with it. Have fun. That's the most important part, too. Have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's go back to Super Bowl. I'm going to read these stats again one more time for all the people that are just tuning in right now. Again, we're talking when it comes to the Super Bowl. Wings, 1.3 billion. I said billion wings will be consumed, 11.2 million pounds potato chips, 139.4 million pounds of avocados, of course, making for guacamole, 3.8 million pounds of popcorn, 3 million pounds of nuts, 325.5 million gallons of beer will be consumed, $2.37 million dollars will be spent on soda, 12.5 million pounds of bacon will be consumed, 10 million pounds of ribs will be consumed for Super Bowl Sunday, and 8.2 million pounds of tortilla chips will be eaten on Super Bowl Sunday. So those are some of the stats that are crazy, and that's why your pants get a little tight and your belt, you need to put it to the next hole in the belt loop, right?
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, it's a lot of food. And like we said, it's a long game. Do you know what I mean? You're there for 4, 5, 6 hours. So, even if you are going to enjoy, some extra snacks, get up at halftime and walk. Do you know what I mean? Or get off the couch and move around a little bit. It doesn't have to be for long, but just so you're not sedentary and just sitting there all day in front of a big bowl of chips, in front of a big spread of dips. And all that stuff. What
you're telling me is halftime when Rihanna comes on, we should all be busting a move then, right?
Well, yeah. Go ahead, dance with Rihanna.
There you go. See, that's perfect. Hey, let's go back to Valentine's Day really quickly. And you have some of the percentage of what people are actually buying for Valentine's Day.
So shoppers are expected to spend in 2023 $23.9 billion on Valentine's Day. So it is a big holiday. Oh, yeah. For sure. Okay. 54% of that will be in the form of candy.
Of course.
So the chocolate, the boxes, little red boxes. Greeting cards, 40%, which is always nice. People appreciate cards, right?
Yeah.
Candy, 37%, which is probably what are the little conversation hearts?
Oh, yeah, yeah. The sweet tarts, or whatever they call it.
Yeah. An evening out will be 31%. And jewelry, gentlemen, 22%.
Well, here's the nice thing about jewelry, it's low in calories.
Yes, exactly. It's low in calories and always well received. So
exactly, right? You're always going to be a hit if you give jewelry out and everything. But again, when it comes to Valentine's Day, you get that big box of chocolate, just grab a couple and just put the box away, because if you leave it out, that's another thing. Just like you leave food out. One thing, I remember somebody telling me that they wanted to lose weight. How did I do? How did I lose weight? Things like that. I go, it's funny when I go out to dinner, when I go out, a lot of times, and I know it's going to be a big portion, I'll ask them when they bring the food, could you please bring to-go box? Mm-hmm. And I'll take half of the meal and put it in the box for two reasons. Number one, three reasons. First of all, what the stuff I don't eat, I don't waste it. Mm-hmm. Number two, I don't overeat. Number three, I got lunch for the next day. And the same thing for candy, just eat a couple of pieces, put it away. Yeah.
And even, request just a smaller box. We don't need, 20 pieces of chocolate candy. I think sometimes people like to buy it because sometimes the bigger the box, the better it looks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, and the other thing too is enjoy really good quality chocolates. If you're going to do it, get less and get a better quality, or even, dark chocolate does have health benefits. Mm-hmm. So even swapping a milk chocolate for a dark chocolate, you're going to get more antioxidants. You're going to get less sugar, and dark chocolate is the highest food source of magnesium. Did you know that?
Look at that. By the way, I just ate a candy bar that was this big with dark chocolate the other day. So that's all right?
Well, again, moderation.
Okay, there you go.
But the dark chocolate is a better option if you're looking to enjoy. So just some things to consider throughout this weekend, and then obviously on Tuesday with Valentine's Day. So we've got two big holidays to potential big eating holidays. So, you know, again, sneaking in those vegetables whenever you can.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're before we sign off, we have, again, Valentine's Day is coming up. We have a couple more stats. First of all, Valentine's Day is one of the most popular days to get engaged. According to a survey from weddingwire.com, Valentine's Day was the most popular day in 2020 to get engaged to. So that's not a shocker. There also, people like to celebrate their pets on Valentine's Day. In 2020 alone, people plan to spend a whopping $1.7 billion on their pets. Really?
People love their pets. I've got 2 dogs. I get it. I mean, I don't think I'd spend money on them.
Okay, why don't you tell me a little history about Valentine's Day?
Okay, so when did Valentine's Day become a holiday? Near the end of the 5th century or around 500 AD, Pope declared February 14th as St. Valentine's Day. As for the origin and reasoning, that's a bit murkier. It's 500 AD. We don't.
I thought it was just
really
Hallmark. Hallmark decided they got in cahoots with the flower industry and the jewelry industry. Hey, I got a great idea.
Yeah.
I know, we should give presents to each other all the time. Let's one day where people are going to spend billions of dollars, and let's just do that. Okay, that's a great idea. And we'll sell cards, we'll sell flowers. It'll be great. We'll all make money.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like's going on.
And if you're looking to watch a movie with your Valentine, here's a little fun fact. The highest grossing movie of all time is a love story. The movie that made the most money of all time was the historical romance, The Titanic, which brought in $659 million total at the box office. Well, it held the title of highest grossing until Avatar came out 12 years later.
There you go.
But if you're looking for a nice romantic movie,
there you go.
Although I don't know about, I mean, it is a romantic movie, but the ending is rather tragic.
Well, the ship does sink. I mean, we know that, right? It's the history. And also an important invention declared on Valentine's Day. How do you let a distant loved one know you care on Valentine's Day? Probably a call or a text. Alexander Graham Bell, the man who invented the telephone, applied for a patent on February 14th, 1876. So you have him to thank to pick up the phone. Well, not the phones we have now, the smartphones, but just the telephone in general to call to wish somebody happy Valentine's Day. But hey, you better be buying somebody at least a card or make a card or something. And then again, when it comes to food, just make it nice and healthy for Valentine's Day and make your honey happy, okay?
Jewelry.
Jewelry all the way. So one more time, we're talking about eating healthy and some other recipes, where can they go?
SaraSullivan.com.
All right, SaraSullivan.com. Let's see, we got one more comment. Let's see who's chiming in right now. Tim, what's Tim saying? Tim goes, always look at the people that are recommending healthy food and ask yourself if you want to look like them. LOL. That, you know what? That's a good point, right?
It is a good point. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a nutritionist, I don't want to talk in a negative way, but if you're a nutritionist, you want to don't go in and go into the buffet all the time and overeat all the time, right?
Absolutely not. Well, and also too, I mean, it's my world. It's what I live. It's what I do. I mean, I love everything about it. So, yeah, I mean, you have to walk the walk, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to talk the talk.
Yeah, and she walks the walk and talks the talk. But she's like working out all the time. She's going, hey, you want to go to yoga? Hey, you want to go run 8 miles? And I'm like, I got to reorganize my sock drawer.
Only if you're chasing me.
Oh, man. All right. So again, if you have any ideas, you can go to SaraSullivan.com. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Enjoy some snacks. Again, don't overeat. Drink lots of water. What's another good tip besides that?
Definitely just watch portion sizes and be mindful and maybe set an intention before you sit down to eat of how much you're going to eat, what you're going to eat, how much you're going to drink. And then enjoy with your friends too, though.
And be active. So halftime, you're gonna get up and dance to Rihanna for that. It seems like a 45-minute long halftime show. I think it's only like 25 minutes, but it seems like it lasts like hours. But you can get up and bust a move for that, or walk around, or whatever. You can miss a couple of plays, right? Patrick Mahomes isn't going to score a touchdown. He couldn't score a touchdown in 13 seconds, could he? Yes, he can. So anyway, enjoy the game. It starts at 6:30. You can watch it on Fox 23. Pregame show starts at 1 o'clock. And again, you can watch Sara Sullivan next week. She appears every 2 weeks on Good Day Maine on Fox 23 between 8 and 9 o'clock. You can go to our website for many ideas when it comes to snacks, food, recipes, whatever. And you can ask her any kind of question. That's SaraSullivan.com. So enjoy the Super Bowl. They have Valentine's Day after that. And Jesus, and then we have Easter in April, or right? That's in April. What's March? March, we're going to have St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, you're right. Like a holiday every month, it seems.
March Madness.
There you go, March Madness. We're going to have eat food for that too. So thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Peterson, along with nutritionist Sara Sullivan. Enjoy the Super Bowl and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.